Hi, everybody. Happy Made New Monday. It's Coach V here. And thank you for joining me for another Made New Monday. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this week's topic on my podcast, which is Transformative Talk with Coach V. That new episode for this week will be released shortly. But I want to just give you a little preview of what we're going to be talking about. This week's topic is You Are Not in Control. Now, I know that is not something that we want to hear. It's not something that we are so willing to easily embrace, but we have to just recognize and rest in the fact that we are not in control. There are so many things in our lives that we try to control, but we have to realize that there are times that we just simply must be in a place of surrender. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes, but I just want to go to the transformative thought for this week. And the transformative thought for this week is this: the very thing that I think that I have control over, I actually have no control at all. And so I surrender all control to God. The very thing I think I have control of, I have no control of it at all. And so I surrender all control to God. And so, in this week's episode on my podcast, we talk about some of the reasons why we may feel like it's so important to be in control of everything. And then we also will talk about some tips, some transformative truths that you can take on your journey from this point forward to release that need to be in such control of things and allow God to truly lead and guide and direct everything in your life, everything that pertains to your life, everything that He has in store for your life. And I want you to be reminded of these things. Surrender does not mean defeat. Usually, when we think of the word surrender, we look at that term as it pertains to war, or say there's a police standoff with a fugitive. We're relinquishing or giving in to something. Um, we associate surrendering with defeat. And what we need to do is change our mindset, change the way that we even look at that word. Now, isn't it amazing that we look at surrender in the natural sense as defeat, giving up, letting something go? But surrender, when it comes to God and His power and His infinite wisdom and love, is such a wonderful thing. It's something that we should embrace. It's something that we should relish in. And so know that surrender is not defeat. As a matter of fact, surrender is exercising great wisdom. There's power in surrendering. You can reclaim your power. You're relinquishing these things that we try to control and micromanage and have our hands and everything, and the need to feel like we need to know about everything at all times. And actually, there's more power in the ability to surrender those things. There's great wisdom in being able to surrender, allowing people to operate in their gifts, exercise their talents and their abilities. And one thing that I thought about as I was sitting here preparing for this today, God just reminded me, if we have to fight to hold on to something, it wasn't ours in the first place. It wasn't meant for us to keep it if we have to fight so hard for it. If it's a relationship that has been nothing but negative, not fruitful, it doesn't edify you, it doesn't build you up in any way. If I have to continue to fight for that, then it may not have been mine to hold on to in the first place. And so we have to begin to look at surrender in a different way. We have to embrace the fact that everything that we try to control in our lives, it's not meant for us to control. We can't control the traffic. We can't control the weather. We have no control over those things. But what we can control is having a sound mind, having peace, being determined to allow the joy of the Lord to be our strength, not being concerned about material things. These things can pass away, they come and go. Our jobs, all of those things can come and go. God promises us that He will replace those things that we have lost, things that we're willing to surrender. Maybe if you're willing to surrender that that unforgiveness that you have in your heart, God can open the door to so many other wonderful opportunities that He has for you. But because you haven't been willing to let go of that hurt or that pain, that betrayal or that disappointment, He can't bless you because you're holding on so tightly to that thing in your hand. And so how can He put something else in it unless you're willing to open your hand and let that go? And so I pray that even in listening to this podcast, that you will begin to embrace the posture of surrender, of letting things go, of not feeling the need to be in control of every single detail. Now, I'm not saying to not be concerned about details. I'm not saying not to be knowledgeable and informed on things in your life and the things that pertain to your life. But if we surrender, then there's more wisdom that we can gain. If we're so worried about our health and we're trying to have such a tight hold on it, again, why are we not consulting God? Why are we not casting those cares upon Him and allowing Him to speak to us and give us divine wisdom and understanding? Because we are God designed. And so He knows our DNA, He knows every cell, every vein. He knows how everything is functioning within us because He created us. And so, don't you think He can give us the key? Don't you think He can give us better wisdom and understanding on how to take care of our bodies so that these 11 systems of the body can function according to His purpose? And so then we can then function according to His purpose, His will, His plan for our lives, because everything again is in alignment. But that's because we have been willing to surrender to Him. We've been willing to surrender those concerns and those cares. We've been willing to let go of the small details that really don't matter. We begin to not we begin to to not always spend our time majoring on the minor things, but then we don't minor on the major things. We put first things first. And when we have God in His proper place, He can give us that divine order. He can give us that proper structure. He can give us the perfect system to put in place. And so all of the things that we've relinquished control of, everything falls into place and it happens according to His perfect timing. That's a great place to be. That's a great place to rest in. And so I hope this week you will practice more of a heart posture of surrender. What are you holding on to? Is it hurt? Is it disappointment? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it a lack of self confidence? Take the time to look up scriptures as to what the Word of God says about you and surrender those thoughts, that negative mindset. Surrender it to Him and begin to fill yourself with what He says. And when you surrender, you'll begin to think like Him, you'll begin to talk like Him, and then you'll be able to share His goodness with others, and you can help them change their mindset of the need of always having to be in control and teach them how to surrender. Because the things that we learn, we experience those things and we revel in those things of God, but then we also are to transfer those things to be able to help others get to a place of wholeness and transformation. So I hope that there was something that was said today that will begin that process for you. I hope that you'll take the time to go and check out this week's podcast on the topic, You Are Not in Control. You can find the podcast, Transformative Talk with Coach V, on Spotify or Anchor. And I'd love to hear your comments about this Made New Monday or the podcast for that matter. You can connect with me on my Instagram page at I Am Made New. You can reach out to me on my website, which is madenewllc.com, and follow me on Facebook on my business page, Made New LLC. And it's Made New, comma, LLC. I have to make sure that I say that so that you are following the right page. And you can always send me an email. My email address is madenewllc.com if you'd like to connect with me to schedule a complimentary clarity call, and we can discuss the things that you are desiring to work on in this year. And so I hope that you'll tune in next time for our next Made New Monday. I pray that you have an amazing week. Remember, today is a great day to be made new, and I am always, always rooting for you. Until next time.